All right, week 35, outlook number 2, starting with pound futures. All right, so as analyzed, we ended up getting the sell scenario in which we all called out the target, which was this low. And ultimately, what I discussed was looking for inefficient pricing to be generated before we reach this low. And so, because we have the inefficient pricing generated before we reach this low, we now can pay a little bit more attention to the possibility that we are getting selling opportunities here. But we haven't got the confirmation just yet. We have the first phase of the confirmation in the fact that we have liquidated or mitigated this low here. But we have to take note that this is a liquidity draw, right? Because we did not close with the body below the low. So if this is going to transition, which will be indication of a major transition, is if we get something like this, where we have the pullback into the inefficiency that was created, and then following the pullback, we then have another displacement past this low in which we would look for a break of structure, but it's not entirely, what's the word? Losing my words here. It's not entirely like necessary. That's the word. Necessary that we get a break of structure of this low following the following the mitigation of this low. It's more important that after we got this mitigation here, we pull back and we respect the inefficient pricing that was generated. And so if this inefficient pricing is respected, then we create an area of interest. Then what we'll get is something where we have this pullback, continuation, pullback, entry, and then go lower. So that's what we should be looking for in regard to the British pound futures for the sell scenario. Now, we do have to take note that the structural action that occurred here was a liquidity draw, so it is very possible that this was just a pullback to mitigate the orders that were here, and then we could we can continue higher, which would be in line with the current trend, that we are getting highs and lows. And then similar to here where we had this low to high, we had a liquidity draw, and then we ran this high here. This could be a similar thing where we have low, high, liquidity draw, and we could be running higher. So both of scenarios are still actually in play. There's no reason to jump the gun for looking for sell opportunities unless you did catch this one and aim for this low as a scalp. That's pretty cool. But if you're looking for long-term swing opportunities, you need a little bit more confirmation for price to give us the opportunities that we're looking for. All right, that's British pound futures. Now, for the NASDAQ, we are looking like we're pulling back a little bit more into the premium, which is totally fine. We ran this high here. That is, this closed above this high, so that is a break of structure. So it is possible that we start moving towards higher highs. We did point out that we had inefficient pricing here that was mitigated in the last outlook, but there was no area of interest generated following the mitigation of that. So this price action does make perfect sense to me. So we should be looking for structural actions to occur at the the previous highs, which would be this high here and this one here, and so on and so forth, right? What we're looking for is liquidity draw of one of these highs and then giving the necessary successive actions in areas of interest in order to frame up selling opportunities. All right, so that's pretty much that. Now, for the Dow Jones, what we have is still continuation towards the high here, which makes sense. We still are in a bullish run, so looking for opportunities for buys is still in effect. But like I said, because we're not on the discount side, it is a little bit more risky. Nonetheless, if you are buying inside of a bullish price leg, it's really subjective there. You look for opportunities. If you find it, you get it. But take note of where we are, and also still take note of the structural actions that occur inside of the price leg on both sides of the range, or the price leg range. All right, so that's it for week 35, outlook number 2. Have a good rest of your week. Peace.